Directors to order, please. Today is February 23rd. The location is Carver Town Hall. We're in room 1 today. And this meeting is being it's being recorded by Area 58 Access Media and will be posted by Area 58 on YouTube as soon as possible. I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, Elaine. I just get so excited.
Yeah, that's all right. I was like,
where is it? Behind me.
Thank you very much. So at this time, we'll do public comments. Discussions during Council on Aging meetings should always be courteous and respectful. During the meeting today, it's 2/23/23. It's a working board meeting. All statements made during the public comment time should be kept to the maximum of 3 minutes. Comments will only be 10 minutes, and speakers must confine their comments to only those items that appear on the meeting's agenda, which is today, February 23rd, 2023. You may email this board at any time. All email addresses are posted online at the town website. Also, you can call the Carver Council on Aging director, and you could leave a message for any board member at the Carver Council on Aging as well. Any item can be added to the agenda with the discretion of the chair. But anyway, at this time, we'll call the meeting for public comments. Are there any public comments today? Okay. Nothing. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is a vice chair reorganization vote. And any comments from the board?
Personally, we're such a short time away from the reorg of the entire board, and we delayed it last month when I think Elaine was not able to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should be consistent and wait till we have a full board.
Right. I move that we wait till we have a full board.
And do we have a second? Who's moving it? You're moving it? Okay, and you're seconding it?
Sure.
Okay, we have a second from Helen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I ask a procedural question? Do we need to do anything or acknowledge it to the town that Paula is filling in?
Yeah, I'll do that right about now because we're going to talk
Okay.
about the minutes. So today we have a full board with Elaine, myself, and Helen. So 3 board members is a quorum. And right at this time, we're going to approve the minutes for December 1st and January 26th. And we have Paula Hitchcock, our alternate, who was in attendance on December 1st. So if we could have a motion to approve the minutes for December 1st. And Helen, were you at that meeting?
I was.
You were, okay. So Helen was at the meeting on December 1st. So if we can just have a motion to approve the minutes. They were all emailed to everybody and without reading them publicly, and then we can take a vote.
That motion.
Helen made the motion.
To approve the December 1st minutes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
And Elaine seconding it. Do we have a vote, please? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, we have a full unanimous, including Paula's vote as well. We have the minutes from January 26th. They were emailed to everybody. Helen was not at the last meeting, so that would vote would have to be taken between Elaine, myself, and Paula Hitchcock. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes for January 26th?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for January.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. The minutes have been approved for December 1st and January 26th, 2023. And we will get those posted probably early next week.
I would be an abstain.
Right, and Helen would be abstaining for January 26th.
So 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
approve.
All right, so moving on, the rental agreement continued. So we all have a copy of the rental agreement in front of us. And this is a working policy that we've been trying to get approved. There was a motion at one of our meetings, I think it was December 1st, I believe, to add the 4 hours at $75 an hour. That has been added to this sheet, and we also suggested having a signature page, and the signature page has been added, signature agreeing to all policies and procedures stated within this rental agreement. That is on the last page. And I don't know if anyone else has any more suggestions. We had a long conversation about having somebody on the premises while the meeting is going on for rentals, because there was not a possibility to lock up the other offices, and now that's being addressed. But it still hasn't been addressed at this time, the key process?
It hasn't changed yet.
It has not changed.
No, but that's,
In the works?
yes.
Okay. So at this time, the update on the keys and the door has not been updated. So at this time, you know, it's up to everybody on the agreement if you want to hold off on voting on this and wait until we get officially the keys made, rather than add an overtime position to this agreement at this time, because there's no need for it if we have the ability to lock up the Council on Aging offices.
Through the chair?
Yes, go ahead.
It will happen, so I don't think it's a matter if
Mhm.
it's going to be locked, so I think.
Well, my concern is if we go and approve this and you have a possibility to rent it next week, then we have,
Well, then that would be. the
that's an
question,
issue.
that We would have to say, the locks would need to be established before any approvals go forward.
Okay.
But I think the rental agreement could be established, and I could get a timeline from O&M as to when the expectation of those locks. So I could have a timeline for when any rentals could happen.
Okay.
But if you're okay with the agreement, I think you
Okay.
should be able to vote on it.
Then I suggest that we've looked over this policy for a few months now. I would suggest that we make a motion to approve the rental policy with the updated $75 for out-of-town fee and the signature page that was added, but approve it with the understanding that the locks will be updated, and then it will be up to the director how it is rented until that's upgraded?
The start
Okay.
of rentals will be determined by the changing of the locks.
Okay, so do we have a motion on the floor? Can you make one, please?
I'll make the motion to approve the rental agreement as it's been revised, with the added caveat that no approvals for renting will happen until we are in possession of the keys.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Are you voting?
Yeah,
Aye,
sorry.
okay.
That's right.
A unanimous vote. So this rental agreement's been approved on 1/23/2023. Thank you very much.
Just to highlight, that $75, you did say it, but it was.
Yeah, so
is for
it
out
was
of-
$75. It's item C, all other organizations and private function, weekends, Saturday and Sunday, the minimum hours of 4 hours at $75 an hour. Okay? All right. Now. The next item on our agenda is the Events Committee reorganization. We took a vote in January, I believe it was, I think it was January, that we would talk further about some possible goals for our board for 23-24, and they were future plans building, pavilion, sitting bench, evening fire pit event with cooking, Carver's Farmer Market, Carver Night Out, a weekend tea, pickleball, Saturday morning men's club, multicultural meals 4 times a year. And the other item was a Council on Aging Board of Directors budget of $500. And I don't have an update on that at this time, but we could talk about the events and reorganization of a committee. And is there anybody on this board that has a comment about the events committee?
Well, I was hoping that we could maybe talk about it a little bit right now and then maybe schedule a meeting with people that
Okay,
might want to work on it. We don't have to go through it all now.
all right.
But, because I know Michael said that he might want to work on it. And
Okay.
so,
I agree that we should have a conversation about events, but I think we should wait on voting
Okay,
on the committee because
perfect,
Alan, Mary, and Michael are not here.
perfect. All
Unless
right.
we want to assign them if they're watching on TV. Because when you're not here, right, that's what happens.
I don't think that would be good.
Not a way to keep volunteers, I guess.
No. All right, so let's start with the first one. So we had talked about, it's on the back of the
Yeah.
agenda, okay. So we had talked about future plans for a building. That is an ongoing goal. But one of the items that we have on here is an evening fire pit evening fire pit with cooking at an event. You know, I think that's a great idea. Somebody will have to reach out to the fire chief to see if that's a possibility and see if there's any issues concerning that. But I thought that would be an awesome idea, something fun, something different. It's an evening event. We're not going to be cold, hopefully. We'll have a fire going and we can be warm by the fire.
were you thinking like April or May or
Yeah, when are
something
you
for this?
thinking?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
thinking
I
like,
think.
you know, maybe May.
Yeah, when
Sometime
it starts.
in May.
Yeah.
So with the permission of the board, I can reach out to the fire chief, or if Elaine, you'd like to reach out to the fire chief?
I could do that. I'll do
Okay,
that.
so, all right, so
I
we'll
can-
have
That
Elaine
would be
reach
fine.
out to the fire chief about a possible fire pit, a portable one. It won't be a permanent
Right.
structure. Okay,
And where
the
would
next-
we want to do this, right? Like on the beach area or the parking lot?
Yeah, I was thinking on the beach.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
accessible enough for people to,
Yeah.
I haven't been down there.
Park there and everything.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
accessible, and then also, we might want to just find out when they put out the outhouses down there, but maybe you could possibly open the COA, so if someone needed to use the bathroom, Connie, they could go up there. Okay, so I guess we don't have to worry about the outhouses if she's gonna
Okay,
unlock
all right.
the council.
All right, I'll
meeting.
reach out and I'll report on that next month
All right, and tell them it would be early evening, it's not gonna be
Yeah.
late, I mean,
for like a couple of hours.
yeah, 2 hours, I think is good, right?
Yeah.
What time, are you guys thinking, like 5 to 7?
I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
Anybody?
It'll
Paula?
still be light then.
5 to 7?
It's gonna be light still?
Yeah, it'll be still be-
Even fun at a campfire and when it's still light out, but it's, I know everybody likes to do it in the dark.
Well, a lot of people don't like to drive at night, so that's.
Drive in the dark, and plus for
Including
walking
myself.
purposes, it might be.
But what if it's dusk though, like you said, that would be fine.
Do you think it would be early, it would be better, 4 to 6, or 5 to 7?
5 to 7, because you might get people that want to do an after-work thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Then let's plan, when you call the fire
Okay.
chief, 5 to 7. And if we have to have
And I'll say late
a
April.
volunteer fire person there, fire officer, is that what they call it, fireman?
Yeah.
There maybe someone might be able to volunteer the time, I don't know.
Alright.
Ready.
We obviously don't have any money in the budget to pay for
Pay
a
an hourly
fireman.
fee.
All right,
Would we do anything there besides the fire pit?
we want to have, we have to cook, so
Like a hot
when we
dog?
have an outdoor fire, we have to cook, so we
You don't
would,
want me cooking.
well.
Hot
we-
dog on a stick?
Hot dog on a stick,
that would
marshmallows,
be fun.
s'mores, so,
Yes.
yeah, I think it would be fun, right? And then maybe we can bring the chairs down from the Council on Aging, a few folding chairs, and we can have
Okay.
fun. All right, okay, so that takes care of that. The Carver Farmers Market is next on the item. You know, it's a Sunday afternoon, I think it starts at 1 o'clock.
What's
So-
the date this year, do we know?
It starts usually
12 to 4 usually.
Yeah,
12 to 4.
under the end of June, isn't it, or?
It's definitely, I think it might even start in May, but I'm not really sure, so
I thought I just saw on Facebook was June
June, okay.
1st, I think it was the first weekend in June 11th. I don't know what the first weekend.
All
One of
right,
the
well,
11th, I thought.
Would August work for everybody? That way we definitely know what's
Well, the
going on.
Carver Night Out
Oh,
is
that's
in
in
August, if you wanted to do that again. And you said, I know I was sick, but you said that was well
When did
received.
we do it last time? Didn't we do it June? End of June?
No, we did it
We did it in the
October.
fall.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
In the fall.
'Cause I think you didn't have time to do it in June, but I think you would want it to do it in June, I thought.
Well, I guess we could do it in June. I know I'm away camping in June.
I know I'm camping a lot this summer.
I know. I don't,
But
I
it's
mean,
on the
I don't have to be
weekend, so-
there.
Yeah, no,
I'm not, yeah, we're not away, are you away every weekend in June?
Pretty much.
Hey, I don't blame
I don't
you.
have my camping calendar out, but pretty much.
No, good,
Anyway,
we can still do it.
Saturday.
Or do you wanna be there?
oh no, I don't have to be there, but if I'm not there, then we definitely require everybody on the board has to fill in sometime during the thing. That's why I was thinking maybe September might be better. Any thoughts about September?
I liked it last time in September with the fall
Yeah.
theme and the donuts and cider, and I thought that
And
was
as I'm
nice.
thinking through it, as we're talking about being away camping, a lot of people
A lot of
aren't
people away,
around
I don't
in the
even know what
summer.
our
So
summer
September
is.
would be perfect.
Right,
All
and
right, you think September? Okay,
Paula,
we-
do you think September?
Yeah, oh yeah. Be around.
all right, so the board thinks sometime in September. We have September 10th. September 3rd is Labor Day, just so everybody knows. So we have September 10th, 17th, and 24th. Just so everybody knows, September 10th is the Apple and Peach Festival in Acushnet, so I know that's a big weekend. We probably don't want to
okay.
have it on that day. How about the
Okay.
17th?
Yeah. When?
17th.
September 17th?
I'm good.
Okay, so
When is
Okay.
the Carver Night Out?
that's in August.
That's in
usually.
August.
It's
Okay.
usually the first week of August,
Okay.
but I mean, they haven't
Yeah, that'll be fun.
scheduled it yet.
So we're doing it.
It might even be like August 8th or August 1st, but I'm not sure about that. All right, so we will do Carver Farmers Market September 17th. From opening time until, maybe 3 hours. We don't have to be there the entire time, but, I'd like us to be there at least for 3 hours during the event. We can talk further on what we're
Right.
gonna do and all that, so at least we can get the dates done.
Yeah.
Elaine, would you be able to contact
Mike Nash?
Mr. Nash?
Sure.
Okay.
And the Carver Night Out, I think that's
Yeah,
still,
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly, so I will do that too.
Does that as well.
Who else, I'm sorry?
The Carver Night Out. so
No,
she'll-
no, I know. Who you,
Mr. Nash,
no, I heard that, then you said somebody else's name.
Mr. Kelly.
Oh, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, Mr. Kelly for the Carver Night Out. Officer Kelly.
Yes.
And then the next item, a weekend tea was suggested, and I think this is a really wonderful idea.
That was Mary's idea, so she might have some specific
Yeah, so
things that
so
she would like to.
why don't we wait until, pick a date when Mary comes back, and that way she can have an idea about that as well. I think it would be a lovely idea. to
I do
have a
think so
tea.
too.
I actually got a phone call from the Wareham Council on Aging, and they're having a Mother's Day tea, and I had actually donated some dishes to the Wareham Council on Aging, so I drove over there and dropped my dishes off to them. But anyway, so that's,
Do we think Mother's Day would be popular though?
they're doing it on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not on it.
But anyway, so we'll wait and
Okay, 'cause I
see
was
when
gonna say
Mary
that.
comes back, so we can decide that and come up with a really nice date for that. And it can be a weekend tea, we could even celebrate grandparents' weekend and maybe a grandparent could come with a grandchild or something like that too. So there's the possibilities there that we can work on.
Grandparents' Week Day is usually in September,
September.
probably around the 17th.
Yeah, probably, right? Well, we can work it
Yeah,
out.
we'll work
and
it out.
see what happens with that. Okay, so we'll put that off till Mary comes back,
Okay.
if you don't mind. The next item, we just have pickleball in here, but the pickleball is going before the town warrant in April. So if you support pickleball over at Sampson's Pond, we ask that you please vote and support the pickleball court. It could be very, very helpful to the older adults that attend the senior center as well.
And that's April 6th, isn't it, town meeting?
I don't know that for sure. All right, the next item is a Saturday morning men's club, and Michael suggested that, so I think we should hold off till Michael comes back so he can give us some more information on that. The next item on this list is a multicultural meal, and I was hoping that maybe June would come, we could discuss it with her. But we don't have to have a date for that, but if we could have, work that into the menu, Connie, through you, if we could work that into the menu over the course of the year, I think that would, and you could actually start with St. Patrick's Day.
Well, we are doing it.
That would be your first multicultural meal, that would count towards it. So anyway, if you want to do that, that would work out really well as well. Any comments on the multicultural meal?
No, I think it's
No, I
great.
think that's great.
Okay, all right. There's so many opportunities out there. I mean, there's, we got the Cape Verdean, we got all kinds of meals that we can offer, Portuguese, Italian. We can have fun. We could even just do desserts. Like it could be a multicultural dessert. So I think it would work out really well. So anyway, we will talk about that at a future night meeting. The next item on the agenda is the Council on Aging, the money that we had requested from the budget, but that $500 was cut, so we don't have
Really?
the $500. There's not enough money in the budget, so the board has no money again this year. All right, so
So we have nothing? It was
the
cut,
board of directors has no money at all in our budget.
so it was cut in full.
Wasn't even in
It
there.
wasn't even in it, it was never put in it. So, we'll have to make sure that that's taken care of for next year. All right, moving on. Is there any other comments for the events committee at all? Yes, Connie?
Through the chair, being that there was no money given, I think what might be a really great opportunity is to look towards local businesses and organizations that could maybe, the board obviously is working for the COA, which is a nonprofit entity, that there would be lots of opportunity maybe for donations.
Okay.
You're talking about the cider and donuts. Go to some of the, like Honeydew Donut has been a great supporter of the COA and asked maybe they could do the donuts for that event. And there's at no cost. And then even with the cider, maybe Shaw's is willing to cover the cider. So we really find that the area businesses have been great supporters through donations of products as well as gift cards and certificates. I don't see why on extension that the board would be representing the COA in a similar fashion.
All right, so and those of you who may not have heard, Connie's not by the microphone, but she just mentioned that maybe we have some local businesses that might be able to support our event, especially the event with the cooking with the s'mores and hot dogs. That's an opportunity. An opportunity for the Carver night out if anyone wanted to donate towards our table for that. Even a case of water, as simple as that. And the other item that we would be looking for a donation for is for our table for the Carver Farmers Market table that we might have in September. We're going to have it in September on the 17th. And if we do a Mother's Day tea or grandmother's tea or just a tea, we'll be looking for some donations for that as well. So please keep that in mind. If you are interested in donating, you can email any board member and let us know if you're a local business here in town. Or you could also, if you're a resident in town or a non-resident, and you're willing to donate anything to help us out, you can actually contact the director and let her know, and she will get us the message. And the number at the Council on Aging is 508-866-4698, and that would be extension 3, and that would be the director and activities director. So thank you very much for that. Any other comments on the events and reorg?
No, I'm sure people will sign up, and I know Paula did the farmers market last year or the year before. We did it, and it was wonderful. So I would hope that she would agree to help with that again if she so inclined or around. And Carver night out and
That was
everything too.
hot.
So
If you're coming to Carver's night out, it was hot, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of work, a lot of fun, but we would love to have you support our table as well. Okay, so moving on the agenda. The pickleball will again be on the town warrant for the annual town meeting in April 2023. The next item that we need to work on is the Board of Directors agenda policy. Do you have a copy of that, Paula? Okay. So this is the policy that we have in effect now. You can see there's items that are in red, and it was suggested that we remove some of these items, and we can work through this. I usually like to take a vote and approval of the agenda, but that's not necessary to have on the agenda. Does anybody have any comments about the agenda policy placed in front of you at this time? We can go through the bullet points. Public comments. The comment must be noted on every agenda in the open forum section of the agenda. All comments must be directed to the chair and must be related to items specifically listed on the current agenda, or may be a request, or may request that the chair consider the item to be placed on a future agenda. So that's a mistake. So it should say or may, take out the B and the A, or may request that the chair consider the item to be placed on a future agenda. And then comments must be kept to 3 minutes in length. And there's a reason for all that as far as the agenda goes, for the public comments, because we can't take up so much time. We value the public comments, so that's number one, and we need to hear them, but we need to have them placed on the agenda if it's something specific you want to talk about, so we can look at our agenda and see how much time we have to review a public comment that may not be placed on the agenda currently. So my suggestion is to remove that A and B and leave the items in blue. Does that make sense? That public comment.
I don't see it.
That's on the
right on the front page.
Front page.
I see 1 and 2.
You probably don't have the agenda.
Thank you.
Any comment on that?
Can I just look at it?
Yeah, take your time. Do you have a comment now, Haley?
No, I think it's fine.
The only thing in terms of wording, and this is semantics, where it says all comments must be directed to the chair, wouldn't it be through the chair?
Through the chair.
No, I'm asking would that be more appropriate, because it could, I don't know. somebody comes in there, they want to say something, and could it ever be about maybe wanting to direct it to somebody else? So would it be through the chair? But I guess public comments could be just to the chair. No, I'm serious. I mean, that's how, this is how boards work, you know? I mean, that's why I say it sounds silly and it's semantics, but
It does mean something.
it does mean something,
All
so.
comments must be directed to the chair, and let's read the whole thing, and must be related to items specifically listed on the current agenda, or, I guess we could put in here, or a request.
Because the person may be speaking to the entire board, and to say to the chair, it means, and again, it's semantics. You see, that means that they're speaking only to you. But through the chair means that they want to have a conversation to the board through you.
Okay, so all comments, I'm just rereading it so we can hear how it sounds. All comments must be directed through the chair and must be related to items specifically listed on the current agenda, or a request may be made to consider the item for a future agenda.
I think
No,
that
I
should
think
be a
that's-
separate sentence.
Okay, all right.
Sounded like a run-on sentence.
All right.
The teacher and you.
Okay, no, that's fine, that's what we need to talk about. Related to items specifically listed on the agenda,
On the current agenda, period.
period.
Yeah.
Current agenda, period.
Requests
Requests,
that the chair
requests
Wait a minute.
may
be
be,
made,
a request
yes. That, oh, wait a minute.
may be made to the chair to consider the item to be placed on a future agenda?
Request maybe,
A request.
If the topic is not on the current agenda, a request may be made
yes.
through the chair to consider the item to be placed on a future agenda.
So we need to add may be made. A request. Take out that and the, right?
Yeah, sounds so funny.
A request may be made to the chair
Mm-hmm.
to consider the item to be replaced, to be placed on a future agenda.
Right.
Yep.
Can somebody read that back and see if it sounds
I
okay?
think Elaine was writing it down.
I'm hoping.
Okay.
I know what I said. so
Okay.
if you-
I know, I just.
All right, so after, okay, a request may be made through the chair to place,
No, that's
No,
not.
that wasn't it.
What I had recommended was, starting from the beginning, all comments must be directed to the chair and must be related to items specifically listed on the current agenda. If the topic is not on the
Okay.
current agenda, it may be requested to have it placed on a future agenda.
so long.
So, something
I
like
know.
that.
If the topic is not on the agenda,
It can,
request may be made
at the
to
next
the chair
meeting.
to be placed on
A future.
a future agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So do we have a motion to approve the public comment part of this agenda policy?
can I just, we can approve it and then I can keep asking questions. You want me to ask a question now? I'll make the motion to approve the COA agenda policy, Board of Directors and public participation.
Just the public comment part?
Just, why just the,
Because we have to go through the rest
There's a
of it.
few others
There's
with-
a lot on here.
so why don't we just do it all at the same time?
Well, we might not have enough time because there's a lot of information on here. There's a lot.
we're not gonna roll it out until the whole thing is approved. All right,
I just figured go step by step, I think it would be easier that way.
all right, I'll make the motion to approve the section, public comment, public participation within the COA Agenda Policy Board of Directors and Public Participation Plan Agreement. Now, my question
Hold
is,
on, so do we take a vote on
well, now it would be discussion.
that? All right.
You can second it
I'll
and then
second it.
discussion.
Okay.
Okay, now there would be a discussion.
Okay.
Is this consistent with the other boards? And where I'm zoning in on, because I know there's been lots of changes throughout all the boards' agendas in terms of, and I know it's been a hot topic, about whether the public can comment on anything or just what's on the agenda. Is that consistent with all the other boards?
The only board that's changed, I think, is the select board. They're allowing the citizen participation with the same rules, 3 minutes, respectful, this and that. But they wanted to hear from the citizens of the town what their concerns were, so they allowed anybody to speak on any subject
Okay.
and citizens participation.
So,
Oh, so the total, I don't know if the total is 10 minutes still altogether, you know, if somebody comes up and says something for 2 minutes and then, I think this 10-minute limit,
Yeah.
so it doesn't take up the whole meeting, but they have changed their policy, which I thought was a good thing. Because like he said, we want to hear what people are concerned with.
Right.
And they don't always know what's on the agenda. They don't always go on and look, you know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
Because I think that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Have we thought about that?
I actually am trying to pull up the select board's agenda to see
Yeah,
that.
because I don't know how
Yeah.
many people get contacted. I never get contacted for anything to be put on the agenda.
It says, it doesn't have an agenda policy that says, the only thing it says, discussion during the select board meeting should always be courteous and respectful. During each topic on the agenda, there will be no questions from the audience if this is a working board. Citizens participation. All statements made during the citizens participation public comment period should be kept to a maximum of 3 minutes. The citizen participation session shall be up to 10 minutes per meeting, and that's all it says. So just so everybody knows, the board of directors did have a previous agenda policy where they would only allow
Right, I remember
conversation
that.
about, okay.
Yeah.
So, do you want to have a conversation about this?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah.
I welcome
Yeah, thank you. My feeling is this is a working meeting.
it.
So the majority of the time really needs to be the board. However, if the pulse of the town, if something's going on that maybe we don't know about that could be helpful to us, I think as long as we have a cut-off time, like maybe we could even shrink it to 2 minutes per person up to like 8 or 10 minutes. Because, you know, and then we can't discuss it, but we may get valuable information that maybe we didn't know about. And we're allowing citizens to participate.
I think that's an awesome opportunity to change this. So.
But again, that's just my opinion.
Right. So then this whole, I guess we would take a vote on the motion we have before us and don't vote for it, and then have another.
Yeah, but that was just my opinion.
Right, I know. Do you have any?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from and everything.
Yeah.
I think with past experience, it's got out of control. So I think, you know, like people haven't respected the amount of time and the, you know, comments. But, you know, it is freedom of speech and everybody should be able to
Right.
Yeah,
probably
I
offer their
agree. I
input.
just-
But
You know,
Yeah.
I think I'm doing a much better job at the board meeting myself, and
Yes,
I should be
yeah.
able to
just move on.
Right.
move
just-
on.
yeah,
Yeah,
just-
I think all a learning experience, because we're all volunteers. so
Yes.
That's what it's
Exactly.
all about, and this is our town and our council on aging, so I think it's important. Paula, do you have any comments?
Well, I was thrilled the select board made that, decision, because I think things do come up and you're not gonna take the time to go to, I don't know about, has anybody ever gotten an email, put something on the agenda from a town person? I have never.
No.
That's what I'm saying, so I don't think it's a
haven't,
convenient
do we?
thing. If something, like you said, comes up and they just wanna come and they wanna say something for 2 minutes, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a good policy. And as long as we keep it, like you said, you know, respectful, 2 to 3 minutes and a total of 10 minutes, I don't think it will interfere with
The work.
the director's meeting, I mean, at all.
Okay, I totally think this is a great discussion that we're having. So, I guess we'll move the vote forward and then we can reopen, make another motion afterwards. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the public comments. All comments must be directed through the chair and must be related to items specifically listed on the current agenda. If the topic, if a request may be made to the chair to consider the item to be placed on a future agenda. Do we have a motion on, we do have a motion on the floor, so we'll take a vote at this time. All those in favor of approving the amendment as written?
Can you,
So the amendment is limiting to the agenda?
Limiting the agenda, yes, that's the motion that was previously made, so we have to take a vote on that. So if you-
okay, I got confused too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
did too. So-
So all those.
I'm trying to think of Robert's rules, I'm sorry. Do we just withdraw that motion?
Okay,
I think we can withdraw.
Yeah, I think I make the motion to withdraw.
And I'll
Okay.
second.
all right, so we'll make a motion to withdraw the motion that was placed on the floor. We have a second. All those in favor to withdraw the motion?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Oh dear.
All right, so that handles that. So we'll have to rewrite that public
I'm
comment
sorry.
part, and I'll have to take a closer look at that, and so why don't we come back to that at our next meeting, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that you could adjust the time for each person, just because this is a working board.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't see a lot of public, I don't think we're gonna be inundated, right, you know what I mean?
We
with a
have
lot.
been.
Oh, yes, if it's a subject that people are concerned about, yeah, but I'm just saying, then you put the limits on it and,
Right.
yeah.
And
But
I
that's
think-
why, just
yeah.
to have it in the policy, just to,
I think 2 minutes in length is a good
Yeah.
policy, and 8 minutes for public comment would be awesome for that. All right, so moving on down here, we have comments of the chair, board of directors, notes. These are just questions. So new business, it says that we would have to list that. That, we can just ignore these comments. Yeah, these are just comments about writing the agenda. The next item that we had a question on was number 2 listed here. Agenda items from board members are to be sent to the board chair at least 5 business days prior to the set meeting date. So yeah, so agenda items, if they can be placed, emailed to the board members, agenda items from the board members should be emailed to the chair, at least 5 days in advance. Unless it's within 48 hours and something, an emergency comes up.
yes, I agree with that. However, I did have, again, just because I write a lot of policies at work.
Yeah.
Unless it is an emergency, what's deemed an emergency?
Something that can't wait for another month,
Well, something that has
Whose
come,
opinion?
yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I know what you're
I
saying.
don't mean to be
No, I
nitpicky,
know what you're saying.
but
Unless an item comes up involving the operation of the Council on Aging, the operation of the Council on Aging, and that could be a virus, it could be COVID, it could be the flu, it could be a generator, it could be
yeah, something like that.
something like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
That could cause a negative impact on the council on a negative financial health or whatever the different financial health, et cetera, to the Council on Aging and its members.
All
Right?
We can add that for the next meeting we have. I can add that in red. And
Do you
then we
agree?
can- Yeah, no, I think we should have something, because if we just have in an emergency,
Everything's gonna be.
everything should be an emergency. The emergency to me might be an emergency, but the emergency to somebody else may not be an
Right?
emergency.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dog is sick.
Okay.
That's my point. That's what I mean.
All right, so we'll fix number 2 and I'll put it in red. And
Yeah,
then we
then
can,
we'll know.
then we can look at that. All right, public participation. I don't know why this is doubled here. Oh, this is just the statement. So this whole statement is going to have to be rewritten because I think. So right here it says the board, the purpose of this agenda item is for you, the public, to inform us, the board, about your views on any current agenda item. So that needs to be removed because if
So
we're
we're gonna
going to
give
change
them-
the other policy.
Right,
we
if we
need to
change the other
this
policy, that wouldn't.
So. Note that the board will not be entering into a dialogue at the open forum time. The purpose of this agenda item is for you, the public, to inform us, the board, about your views. And end right there. What do you think?
Views or concerns? Yeah.
Or concerns? Okay. And like I said, this will have to be retyped. So.
Ideas? I don't know.
We won't vote, like I said, we're not voting on it, we're just discussing
Yeah.
it. So then we'll put this in red and see how that goes.
Yeah.
And we don't need that part where it says the next bullet point in red, we don't need to have that either on here. Number 2, this session can be held after the Pledge of Allegiance or deferred to the end of the agenda. I always thought it should be at the end of the agenda. That's the way it had been done for many, many years. And I got an email from somebody in the public who actually sat on this board, and they requested to have it moved to the beginning of the meeting. By having it moved to the beginning of the meeting, it does one of 2 things. One, if they're addressing something that's on the agenda, we can hear their concern, number 1. But number 2, if they address it at the end of the meeting, then we can get a better idea of from them as well. So it's
It's a
really a
tough one.
toss-up.
It's
It's
tough,
really,
yeah.
really a toss-up, okay? So if we're voting on something, do we want to hear from the public about that item before we vote? Or do we want to allow the public to comment on the agenda item as we get to the item?
This is a tough one.
It really is, and we want to be fair, and that's what we're here to do, and we want to do the right thing. So
Because as a citizen,
we do have somebody here that's from the public, and if you don't mind me asking Mary what
Sure.
your thoughts are. Mary, do you have a thought about when the public comment should be placed? Do you think it should be placed at the beginning or at the end?
Well, I would say, I would say maybe at the beginning.
Okay. All right.
I don't know, I think that would work better, and then have what's on their mind said,
Okay.
and somebody else has heard it,
All
and
right.
it gets mulled around.
Okay. All right. Well,
It's just an idea.
yeah, no,
What do
I
you think?
I appreciate,
Me? I don't have my glasses on.
no,
I think you're pointing to me. There you are, hi. No, I'm absolutely leaning that way because from that perspective, most people that come to these meetings that aren't diehards
Yeah,
are here for a specific topic.
yeah.
And
They want to be heard.
they want to be heard, and 9 times out of 10, it's on the agenda. It's hot, what's going on in town. So they want their voice heard before we make any type of
Yeah.
votes or decisions. So I'm leaning towards what you
Yeah.
said.
okay,
Yeah,
Me too,
before.
I think, yeah.
all right, so we'll leave that, crossed off the end and just, the session can be held
Glasses are
after the
beautiful.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
And if we leave it just like that,
Yeah.
and just cross out the rest of that,
Mhm.
okay? It says can, it says the word can. That doesn't mean that we can't change it to the end if we had to, right? Okay. All right, the next item that we want to take a look at, speakers need to address the chair and add the word only. We're not having a discussion with all the board members. It's, not an open forum. At that point, it has to be placed on the agenda, and the board can discuss it at the time that we get to the agenda. We can have a discussion on maybe what the public comment was then. Okay, so number 2 is crossed off. It used to say agenda items from board members are to be sent to the board 10 business days. But we're going to move it to 5 business days. And then the last item, number 7, we can add that as a bullet to the bottom. Personality, politics, personal attacks, personnel issues, and pending litigation are not addressable to this board in public participation. And may, not may lead to the speaker being censored. All speakers are asked to be positive, that their concerns are based on fact and not presented with malicious content, and cannot be interpreted as slanderous, verbal or libelous, written to other people. So again, this is addressing, we had some personnel issues that came before this board, and we don't address personnel issues on this board. It's something that we don't do. This is something that would be addressed through the town administrator's office. So I don't know how specific you want to get on number 7, if you want to tidy that up at all, the wording on that, but it sounds, I think we could get rid of personalities.
Yeah.
I don't think.
What am I
personal-
missing?
On number 7
last
at
page.
the bottom, the last page.
Oh, I'm on number 7 on the second
No,
page.
7 on the
I'm
last
so
page.
sorry. Ah, there's the big paragraph.
Okay, so I think we could drop personalities.
Uh,
And, I mean,
That-
that's kind of,
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
who addresses,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's a personality, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that
Yeah.
doesn't help us at all. We could even get rid of politics, because that's not an issue, like, right? It's,
Well, political attacks.
I guess, political.
No. Personality in politics, I think, is saying that a person may throw out a personal attack based on their personality in politics. So I don't think it's necessary.
You don't think we should?
Personality in politics,
Take it out?
yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that's
So
what's
just
driving
personal
the person
attacks,
to have.
personnel issues and pending litigation are not addressable to the board in public participation.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think that's fine.
mean,
Paul?
So we
Sounds-
can,
Sounds more logical.
what?
Just the personal attacks, personal issues, depending like.
Yeah.
Personalities and politics.
Right, take
So we'll
those out.
start
Take
with
those out.
personal attacks,
Yep.
Yes.
personnel issues, and pending litigation are not addressable to the board in public participation. and may lead to the speaker being censored. All speakers are asked to be positive, that their concerns are based on fact and not presented with malicious content, and cannot be interpreted as slanderous. Cannot be interpreted as slanderous? Verb? Cannot be? And I guess it should be, and slanderous attacks. Do we even need that comment? I don't even think we do, because.
I don't know how you prove any of that.
Right,
Yeah.
there's no way.
It's all opinion.
What's slanderous, interpreted as slanderous? I mean, we all interpret things
Personal
very
attacks
differently.
covers slander, I think.
Personal attacks,
Yeah.
yeah. And just end it at after
Yeah.
malicious content, if you want. All speakers are asked to be positive, that their concerns are based on fact and not presented with malicious content.
Okay.
Because the other is just saying the same thing.
All right, so we won't, my suggestion is that I get this rewritten and then we present it to the board at a different time.
Okay.
And we move this to,
Instead of approving the separate section.
yeah, and we move this to put it on our next agenda for our next meeting, which is actually, I think it's March 30th is our
Yep.
next meeting.
So Donna will make necessary changes based on our discussion this evening
Mhm. And present it to the board,
and present to full board.
agenda policy for next Thursday.
Good.
Right.
Okay, we got a lot done, okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is the director's report.
Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
And I'm looking at the time,
Yeah.
so that took us an hour to go through all of that, and we haven't even heard from the director. And she has a lot to say, I think.
Yes, we do.
Your director's report is very full today.
As
That's
requested.
good.
As requested.
I can't hear you very well. Is
Well, is
that
this
mic
on? Oh, it was, looked like it was.
Holy mackerel.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now.
Okay. Yes, you
Can you move
requested,
it closer? I don't know.
not really. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. No, as I included the information that you requested. The February updates are listed with some statistical information with regard to the GATRA trips. I didn't have the January trips on there from the last meeting, which was 561, and February to date, there's still a few days left, but it's 441 on February. And with regard to nutrition, the February congregate meals, keep in mind it was only 15 days this month, was 188 meals, and we still have a couple more days to go. Meals on the Move was 580 to date. I wanted to use this opportunity to mention that the month of March will mark a full year of participating in the Old Colony Elder Services Nutrition Program, which reimburses the Carver COA $3 a meal on a monthly basis. A monthly claim form is required listing the total amount of meals served, plus a record of revenue, donations, food purchases, supplies, labor, and transportation costs, with all the supporting documentation. The monthly reimbursement averages around $3,000, and it is deposited into the Senior Meals Revolving Account, which is a separate budget account from the town budget, so it's a revolving account, which is only used for food purchases and food-related purchasing only. So that is where the reimbursement is placed. This reimbursement is significant since the COA is only asking $3 for congregate meals and a $3 donation for Meals on the Move. The cost of each of these meals is far above $3. I think we all know, due to the food cost increases over just the past 2 years, that everything is way more expensive than it has been. And most area COAs charge $4 or $5 for their meals. Part of participating in the Old Colony Elder Service Nutrition Program is following the Executive Office of Elder Affairs state nutrition guidelines and submitting menus to the Old Colony nutritionists for review and approval. And I've attached 2 sample menus for your review.
Okay.
Other statistics refer to, I always update our my senior center registrations. to date from its inception, which was actually 2 years ago, we're up to 346 individuals who have registered. For distribution of newsletters, 577 were emailed, 855 mailed, and 350 distributed throughout Carver.
Okay, can we just stop right there? On the, is everybody on the board, if you want to just take a look at the menu, it's in the back of the director's report?
Yeah, while we do that, can I just ask a quick question about this registrations of 346?
Yep.
Are those new registrations?
No, as I say to date, as in from the inception of my senior center, which was 2 years ago,
Okay,
which is how I led into it, because I want to make that clear. I'm not registering 346 people every month.
okay.
If-
How
if-
many new have we had?
That would be 16 from, I think it was, no, I'm sorry, 16 from the beginning of the year, so I think it was probably like 5 more just for this month.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So 21.
So as I was saying, it's a growing number because I tried to make that very clear that it's from the start of our registration process, which was June of '21. And so it's been like 2 years, or not even 2 years, that we've registered 346 people.
Great.
And if I can just add to that, that doesn't represent people who might come in the Council on Aging and never filled out a form because they just ran in to see Heidi.
No, these are actually the registered people. I'll
Right.
address that with other statistical information
Okay.
through the system.
So I think that's important though, is
Yeah.
when you get to that point, is to
Yes.
explain that.
Yes.
All right, so
This is
take,
the menu, yeah.
does anybody have any comment on the menus that are attached?
It looks great.
Looks good.
Right. I think it's fine.
Are the Meals on Wheels, will you remind me, is it income, household income driven?
No, there's no restriction.
No.
And ours are officially called Meals on the Move because we're not
Yeah.
the federally funded Meals on Wheels.
Okay, sorry.
We are Meals on the Move.
All right, I guess any other questions on the top part that she went over? It's really cold in here.
It's cold.
All right, so February recap.
Just want to go over a couple of the events that took place. We had 8 February birthday celebrations on the first Wednesday of the month. We are also restarting a popular activity, which is basket weaving with Patty Batson. She has a great following and has a wonderful program that she's put together and done over the years. We had a Valentine concert with singer Jennifer Mello. And we did start the ARRP free tax preparation mid-month, and we'll go through April 10th. We currently have a full list of appointments, but I am taking wait list names if needed. We had an LCR game as well as a Two Truths and a Lie game, which were well attended and a lot of fun.
And what is LCR?
Oh, I'm sorry, left, center, right.
Okay.
It's a dice game. It's one that we've played usually like twice a year. And then I've attached a copy, this isn't actually the newsletter itself, but a copy of the next newsletter for March. And there's some events coming up, which is a nutrition program on the Mediterranean diet. I did want to mention Dan Badger, who's with the Conservation Commission, will be coming in with an info session talking about the plans for the property that they're responsible for that is adjacent to the COA. And one question that was brought up before is, or one desired element, they are putting in a pavilion on that property. And all of the activities as well as the development on that property will be accessible for the seniors at the COA. And there'll be a lot more accessibility physically. Fencing will be removed, trails, walking trails will be built, all with, and even like an extended gravel parking area that will be accessible for the seniors of the COA. So I think Dan will have more specific information about that.
Thank you.
The Friends are continuing their membership drive into March and having just a lucky draw for people who come in to join or renew their membership. We will have our annual St. Patrick's Day luncheon on the Wednesday, the 15th, and tickets go on sale for $10 with June in the Nutrition Center on Wednesday, March 1st. After the luncheon, there'll be a performance sponsored by the Carver Cultural Council with Celtic musicians Stanley and Grimm. and that will be at noon. They'll be keeping with the Irish theme, that will be showing a movie matinee of The Lord of the Dance. Monthly foot care services were also returning. We haven't had them for over 2 years, going on 3 actually. That will return on a schedule of being the 4th Wednesday of every month with podiatrist Dr. Alan Letchin, and if that's how you pronounce it. They're half-hour appointments for $35. And the April appointments will actually be on Friday the 21st, just due to a conflict on a Wednesday.
So March 21st?
No, the April appointments will be on, April
April.
21st, just due to the conflict that he has on the 4th Wednesday that month.
Okay.
We're getting guiding eyes for the blind.
And I have one question.
Oh,
How
yes.
do they make the appointments? They call you?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's listed in
Call
the,
the
that's
rep.
listed in the newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah, again, this is just a bullet point for,
Wow.
the details are in the newsletter. Guiding Eyes for the Blind, Regional Coordinator Lynn Stoss will be coming by with some of her volunteer puppy raisers and their dogs in training on the 31st of March. Again, the details are in the newsletter. I wanted to promote our next, or the first bus trip of the year, which is a trip to Newport Playhouse, which is on Wednesday, April 5th, and we still have seats available. The final payment for that is due March 8th. Membership with the Friends offers a discounted price of $110, with non-members $137, which is the going price for that event. There'll be a charcoal workshop April 11th with local artist Jesse Fries, and that is sponsored by the Carver Cultural Council. We're looking to start a walking club. I have some people that are interested in starting that, either to start in April or May, and it will be a tie-in with the Walk Massachusetts Challenge, which begins May 1st. Also, looking to have a health and safety fair on Saturday, May 20th, with local support of vendors and safety representatives that will hopefully have some representation at this fair as well. I did want to point out, because I think there were some questions talking about ARPA funds, which we did discuss at one of our previous meetings. It has been requested and approved so far that there will be 5, and I want to point out the ARPA funds are federal funds, they're not part of the town budget, have been approved for 5 new replacement freezers and 1 refrigerator freezer for the Nutrition Center food storage. These new high-efficiency appliances will replace the outdated, inefficient units that are in states of disrepair and are located in an area of the COA that requires going outside in all types of weather in order to access. The new units will be able to be indoors, divided between the first floor pantry and the basement level. That will leave the large walk-in freezer refrigerator as the only outdoor unit and eliminate all units located in the unfinished lower level of the COA, which is accessed only from outside.
All right, if I can just
Yep.
ask a question. So those freezers that are currently downstairs, how did they ever get to the Council on Aging? Because they look so outdated.
Well, a lot of them were donated. Some were purchased, but I mean, they are well beyond the age of use. And they're probably using up a very high amount of electricity due to the
Right.
fact that they're full of frost.
Mhm.
The gaskets or the seals on the edges are not working properly. And again, they're located in an area of the COA that's not safe.
Right. So I did have an opportunity to visit the Council on Aging when David Cedarton was there, as well as the town administrator. And we did go on a little bit of a tour to the pantry and things like that to look at where the freezers could go that would be easily accessible to the workers that work at the Council on Aging. And I'm just happy to see this change come about, because what they have there now is very outdated, as we would say. It got its use, right? It got its use, but now it's outdated. And to be quite honest with you, it needs to be done. So I'm glad it's going to be done. I had also talked to him about the keys that need to be redone for the different doors, and we also had a conversation about the power washing and the windows in the living room area. We talked about that. We talked about the outside being sanded, that black railing. So we did talk about a lot of things. So hopefully those updates and those, it's not even updates, it's upkeep, will be taken care of. And one of the major things that I had a concern of, and I know that our director has a concern of, is the oval window that's above the congregate dining. That is currently leaking when it rains, and there's a bucket that's there collecting water, and we actually have some ceiling damage to the brand new tiles that were placed into the Council on Aging. So that's a concern, and I know, I believe Connie said there's some more tiles for when they fix that to replace. Okay. Have you heard when they're gonna come to replace that?
No.
No, okay. All right, so we still don't have a detail on that. All right, do we have any other questions for the director?
I still have more.
Oh,
Yep, that was not it.
all right.
I did include some photos of some recent events, also to indicate the attendance at those events with the photos attached. Just a sample of a congregate lunch with 19 in attendance. Our countdown to noon ice cream social, those are always very popular. We had 23 in attendance. Our bone health presentation, there was a lot of appeal for that. I think a lot of people wanted to learn about that. We had 11 in attendance. Our Valentine left, center, right game had 9. You can see a very animated photo from that. It was a lot of fun. Our Valentine concert, we had 13 in attendance, and it was very interactive. You can see the...
Is that Masha?
It is Masha, yep. We had our resident celebrity, another singer herself. And you can see the size of our craft program. You see there's 17 in attendance on this particular craft program, and I said I'm at capacity just about, with 18 usually in the setup itself. So that's one of the, and I also have 18 in our book club, so if you can envision the same setup of people sitting for our book club as well. I attached, I will not read it, but you can read it to put yourself to sleep tonight, our annual report that was for 2020, which will be included in the annual report at the town meeting. The statistical information that I mentioned there, which I will read this portion, which is 2022 was a year of finding a new normal for the COA with the easing of COVID restrictions, growing attendance, and expanded programming. By the end of the year, we had reached a total at that point of 330 registered seniors with My Senior Center, which recorded 152 active seniors in the year of 2022, with an average daily attendance of 26.
Wow.
The statistics that I referenced for that are attached in this, if you turn the next page, is a direct report from My Senior Center for the time period. The date range from January 1st of 2022 through December 31st. And you can see, how they got to that calculation. There's 6,350 check-ins, which is when somebody with a key tag has checked into the kiosk of the COA. So in that entire year, there was 6,350 check-ins. The days that we were open were 238, because it's weekdays. And the average, it says average duplicated, that is the average number of people in attendance. So that's where the number 26 came. Actually, if you look at it, it's actually closer to 27. And it should imagine that these numbers would actually be higher due to the fact that not everyone that's in attendance has got a key tag or remembers to check in. So definitively know that the numbers are genuinely higher than this, but I think 26 on average, on a daily average basis of attendance is a decent number. And it's far greater than anything pre-COVID.
Well, I'm just amazed, and I knew that my senior center was gonna be valuable to the Council on Aging, and just looking at that itself shows what is going on there, and then we have the documentation for it. I know myself, if I just run in the office to drop something off, I'm not checking in down at the kiosk, but I'm visiting there. So, I'm one of those ones who forget to run down to the kiosk and check in.
Or some people come for lunch and they might just get in line to get their lunch and they don't think to check in at the kiosk.
Right.
So I see that, for example, I will even say that I know with our specialty luncheons, which are always a sellout and it's a full house, I'll go and look at it and I can see the check-ins because I've had to move the kiosk to another location. I get half the people that have actually checked in. So I find that that doesn't represent what I know, having sold all the tickets for the luncheon and seen every seat filled at the luncheon, that not everyone did check in. But considering that, the numbers of people who did are represented in this report. And you see by day, they give the average per weekday, so you see an ebb and a flow. Thursday clearly has the largest number because that's bingo. The average per day by month. And you see December, just maybe because of the holidays, that was one of the larger months of attendance. And then there's, on the other page, there's a breakdown of the age ranges of, and also in town versus out of town, that make up the 152 individual people. That's what it represents. It's not just 100 people visiting, it's like individual people that actually came to the COA in the year of 2022. So it's a little bit of a breakdown on the statistics of that. I also attached the town budget that was just approved at a recent meeting with FinCom, well, at least with FinCom and Capital Outlay. It still has to go for approval, of course, before the town. This will be what will be distributed to those that attend town meeting, as it is every year. The town budget for every town department is given to everyone in attendance. So this is a public document that everyone can get to, go over themselves. But you can see it's actually a fairly bare bones. It also compares the years from 2022, the 2023 budget, and the requested budget for 2024. There was an inclusion that was requested, and then if any increases there's a notation on the side to explain increases that were just a necessity over with regard to things like the telephone and internet went up because we upgraded our Wi-Fi, and in order to accommodate that, we needed to also increase our internet speed, which put us into another category of cost. Also with our Shine services and expanding outreach services, as well as the tax prep services, we needed an increase in our postage. There's also a line item under in-state travel to explain what that was, because it was a new line item. It is coverage for mileage reimbursement for the drivers that deliver our meals on the move. We also had a line item that was pulled from, just to identify it, was pulled from other purchase services, which was for programs and performers. A request was made during the FinCom capital outlay review by Ron Clark, who's the president of our Friends group, who asked for an increase for our operations costs, because the Friends have been footing the bill for all of our, our costs, particularly for activities. And we've had such an increase in attendance for activities that the Friends are putting out a lot more funds than they've ever had to before. As I mentioned with the crafts alone, if we have 18 people in attendance, the crafts pre-COVID were closer to 6 to 8 people, and that was only twice a week. We're now having craft classes every week with the attendance of somewhere between 14 to 18 people. And the supplies have been provided, all of the supplies have been provided by the Friends. So there was a request by Ron Clark, and considering it as operational costs, I do not have a line item and never have had a line item to cover activities. It was requested at a former meeting about even getting the $500, and it was the $1,000 that was what we've been working with. But the Friends have been footing the bill for everything else. So there was a request for an increase, an additional $5,000, which is reflected in this budget. That did go under, if you look at the other purchase services line, that's what is represented with the increase being added to that line item. And that is on the first page. It's under printing. You see that, okay?
I see 4,000 listed there.
No,
No.
that's for printing.
Okay.
Right.
And then underneath that, is
Oh,
seven-
okay.
and you see the dramatic increase, because that's what the percentage represents, is that additional $5,000. 2,000 was requested, as has been in the past, and the 5,000 additional put it in that higher percentage increase. But that was recommended and approved unanimously from both the FinCom and Capital Outlay.
Well, I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear of that increase in the support to the Carver Council on Aging.
So we didn't get the 500, but we got,
We got 5,000 for
Yeah, for our
For the board.
operational costs.
operation,
Yeah.
which is good. I mean,
Well,
Just
we
makes
we
it take
told
some
that
pressure off.
every other town department has been asked to cut. And so what we had been at was sort of at as is. There had been a request, actually, at one of the earlier budget meetings for the COA, to look back to add to our budget, because we're operating at such a bare bones.
right.
Unfortunately, that's where the 5,000 ended up happening, was we were going to hopefully get even more, but now everyone's looking at cutting their budget. We're at a point where we can at least support our operation costs, which I think every other town department has an operations budget built into their budget. And this would kind of put us, because again, we had this reliance on our Friends for providing that, and it's above and beyond what it's ever been before. So I think having at least a line item for the COA to have operation costs covered by the town budget is what we're asking for, and what was approved.
Good.
Thank you. Any other questions on the budget?
No?
And that was that.
I just thank you for giving us the statistics, because
Yeah.
I think those are awesome. It goes to show you what can happen at our Council on Aging, or what is happening, not can happen, what is happening, and it's exciting to hear, and I'm just really happy with the statistics. I just want to just bring everybody's attention to, are you done, Connie?
Yes, okay,
Okay.
so I'll set.
So if you turn to the annual report that's in here,
Yeah, so not-
so the Carver Council on Aging, it's on the last page I'm reading from, on the end.
This one?
Yeah, turn it over to the left, yeah, all right. The Carver Council on Aging Board of Directors supported the goals set for the Council on Aging to help increase attendance, expand activities, and maintain the current building while planning for a future COA. The board hosted several events through the year to create awareness of the COA and its offerings. These included a hot chocolate bar, take me out to the game night, as well as meet and greet at the Carver Night Out, hosted by the Carver Police Department. The board supports the director, Council on Aging staff, members, and visitors to the Council on Aging by upholding the mission of the Carver Council on Aging. And just down here, it says physical improvements to the Carver Council on Aging in 2022 featured a Wi-Fi upgrade with a new phone system, as well as new replacement windows in the nutrition center provided by the state earmark fund. So keep in mind, the improvements are slowly happening at the Council on Aging, but we're pleased to see things like this taking
Yeah.
place, and it's awesome to see. And then Connie goes on to say, special thanks to the many volunteers, scout groups, and school children, plus individuals and businesses in the community who donated money, goods, talents, and time to help the seniors of Carver. The Council on Aging could not exist without the support of our volunteers. And she respectfully signed her name, Connie Kelly, the Director, Activities Coordinator, and then Donna Florian, Council on Aging Board of Directors Chair. So that's awesome to see. I just had one quick question. I had previously sent in some information to Elaine Weston at the town website.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it's a possibility at all for the Council on Aging to use the website at all for advertising.
Yeah, we're on there.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I think it's nice to see that,
Yeah.
have a website that we can actually use, and I thought it was awesome that they were able to put the activity that I did on there, so.
Can I just add that when I first started, I asked if we could make our own website for the COA and was told that the COA is on the town website. So we use that to, post our newsletter, any, obviously the meetings and anything that we want to add to that. I have a promotional video on there. There are all sorts of resources and access that's on the town site for the COA. The website that exists for the COA is actually the Friends. So if anyone looks up the Friends of Carver COA, you'll be directed to a website that is dedicated to the Carver COA but managed by the Friends.
So do we have a link on the town website to
Yes,
the Friends?
the link to the Friends website is on the town website.
Okay.
But also, if you look up Friends of Carver COA, you'll just Google it, and you will see a website which also has chair yoga videos, it has craft videos, it has the monthly newsletter is posted on that as well. There's links to donate to the Friends that are on there. But also we have our COA, our COA Facebook page, which also has the photos that I attached for the events that I attached to this director's report were all from our COA Facebook page.
Okay.
So there's another way you can see what's going on. Our newsletter is always posted to the Facebook page. Our menu is posted to this, the Facebook page as well. So there's actually several online options for finding out what's going on at the Carver COA.
Can you just repeat how we get to it? You said mentioning Google, but can you get to it through the website? Like how?
Yeah, the link is on the Town of Carver website.
So it's carverma.gov.
Correct.
Is the website.
No, is the town website.
The town.
But I'm saying, if you are online
Yeah,
at
on
home.
the website, yeah.
No, if you're online, just online, and you're doing a Google search, that's my go-to, Google. I mean, you could do Bing or whatever. But you put in a search for Friends of Carver COA, it will bring you to the Friends website. The town website has the link to that. But I'm
That's
just
where
saying,
I was going. That's where I was trying to get to.
that's what I'm saying. It's on the if you go to the town website, you go to the Carver Council on Aging, and there's a link to the Friends website on that.
Okay. I think that's awesome that we're able to take advantage of that website. It should be the go-to place, but it would really be nice if the Carver Council on Aging had their own.
But that's why I was told,
Website.
because it exists on the town website, I was told that's why I appealed to the Friends to offer that, so we could add that other content.
Okay.
Because even from a calendar standpoint, I originally was trying to add our calendar of events to the town calendar, but it overruns the meeting calendar, and it can't be put on at the same time. So just posting our newsletter at least gives people access to our activities.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for the chair, for the director?
No, this has been great.
Good.
All right, thank you very much for that report. The next item on the agenda is board member comments, and I'll start to my right, Elaine.
Okay, well, I think that we've had a very busy meeting and got a lot accomplished, and I thank Connie for that comprehensive budget and report and everything, especially the 2022, the annual report. A lot of things I wasn't aware of. So thank you.
Thank you. Paula, do you
No.
No comment? Helen, any comments?
Oh, I don't have any comments, but you ran a great meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so I just had a couple of items I just wanted to remember to remind the town is the Carver annual meeting is coming up in April, so don't forget to come on out and listen to the annual town meeting. We need your support there, so that's really awesome. The other thing, just to remind our community that we have the St. Patrick's Day luncheon coming up on March 15th at 11:30, and you can contact the Council on Aging to make reservations for that. And this is $10, and they're sold through June in the Nutrition Center. So don't forget to come out for St. Patrick's Day to visit our senior center.
Through the chair, you don't call to make reservations, you need to physically come to the nutrition center to buy your tickets.
Okay, so you need to come and physically pay for your reservation and pay in person to get your ticket. So that's what you need to do. So, and I have one quick question. What happens if this gets filled quickly?
It always does.
It always does, and usually, there might be some people that get turned away, but typically we try to accommodate as many people, and we usually is a sellout.
And this is for seniors, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, well, thank you for attending today's meeting. Do we have a motion on the floor to adjourn our meeting?
I move that we adjourn our meeting.
And do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned, and the next meeting is March 30th, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.